What's going on, troops? Welcome back to Oblique Gaming and welcome back to the Creator Community League. Now, with all this self-isolation going on, I haven't recorded in a little bit, so if I'm a little bit rusty, I apologise. Hopefully everything is going well for you guys, and it's crazy times, but we are back with the CCL, and we are going to jump straight into what happened in the week that we were missing. And we are going to jump straight in to the week that was not played on screen. So in this week, as you can see, goals galore as per usual. I think first things first, we'll jump straight into that Cornish Marauders versus Shithouse FC game. An absolute destruction, 5-1. Cornish Marauders bouncing straight back, proving that even though they're not running away with it like they were before, they are still a very, very solid team, and they are capable of banging lots of goals past you. And then jumping straight up to the top, ABT boys, what is going on with that team? Absolutely killing this league, still undefeated so far. That is just incredible from them, and ABT FM, their manager, will be delighted with their performances so far. Also, we've got Bayern Munchies managed to pull back a game that they were losing 3-1. They managed to just bring that back, pull it up to 3-3, and Des got a little bit frustrated about that, got himself sent off. Unfortunate stuff for the How I Met Your Mata team, but they did get levelled up at the end, proving that Bayern Munchies still have that in them to fight. And then another game that just got stolen at the last minute, completely ran away with it at the end, was Custard Donuts versus Relegation Athletic. 2-0 for Custard Donuts. Boom, 3 goals into them, 2 of them quite late on in the game. Relegation Athletic managed to pull that back and get themselves through. Then you've got Doncaster Rovers coming back, still pushing forward, showing that they are capable of getting back into this league. Haaland and Royce? Let's call him Royce. I like Royce better. It's a better name. Haaland and Royce managing to get over an RB Keebs, who just aren't looking quite the more dominant force that they did earlier on in the season. Oblique Ramblers back down again, 3-1 loss, and Gabriel Jesus just killing this league so far. Even if he isn't necessarily the top goal scorer, which I'm not sure if he is, but he's still just consistently putting in these performances all the time, and it's so hard for anybody to deal with them, as I would know as the manager of Oblique Ramblers. We also got a 2-2 draw. Quite a few draws throughout this, is there? Nope, there's only 2. That was great knowledge from me. But a 2-2 draw. Cookie Collective constantly getting these draws, but they were brought down by Lukaku scoring the brace and getting his team a point out of that game. And then finaling it off was in Wepo Attack. Nice win, 1-0. Clean, concisive. Wakefield City, who have been playing well, unfortunately take a loss in that game. So there was some good action there, and that leads us nicely on to what we're going to be looking at today, and this is the lineup of games that are going to be played throughout this episode. And the game that we are going to watch in the live com is the Cookie Collective versus Oblique Ramblers. Still another 2 teams we haven't quite watched yet, and I think the teams we haven't yet watched in a live play might be Cookie Collective, Oblique Ramblers, Shithouse FC, Doncaster Rovers, Custard Donuts, Fletcher Jets, and ABT boys. That's what it looks like that we still have to go through, and the only reason I'm going for this one is because I do know specifically next week we do have that Fletcher Jets versus Doncaster and the Shithouse versus ABT, so we have an option of 2 completely brand new games as well that week, so I felt like that was the best one to go with. So I think what we're going to look at first is the table after what just played out, because obviously that is the most important thing we have of everything. So as you can see, ABT boys still on top, but they were only a point clear of a Wepo Attack, so 2 teams really surprising everyone, getting themselves right up there. They are being chased by Relegation Athletic, Hoof FC, Cornish Marauders, and then it starts to get a little bit close in the middle. The main thing to point out though is the absolute collapse of both the Cookie Collective and Waterloo Hotspur. Cookie Collective would be bottom of the league right now because we are counting goal difference in this, even if the game isn't. So yeah, so Cookie Collective smack bang bottom of the league. Waterloo Hotspur not doing a whole lot better, a little bit better defensively, but you can't really say much. It's quite disappointing from them. And then Bayern Munchies right down there near the bottom. They're what? Yeah, they're joint third last, and you didn't really see that coming. early into this. Other teams that have just been surprising are like the RB Keeps, Shithouse FC and Weapon Attack Hoof FC. They've really just surprised everyone, and that's where teams like the Waterloo Hotspurs and the Byron Munchies or Donmaster Rovers, what's happened with them and why they are down that low. We can also see not much has changed in the way of the goal side. Ronaldo and Messi joint top, not really a surprise to anyone, and then Sergio Aguero, who was quite a late pick, rounding that off with 6 goals, just one behind. And then you've got Sadio Mane, who's been just putting that ball right to their feet. That's why he's top of that average rating. But then you got another Cornish Marauders player there. He is Milivojevic. Yes, I said that perfectly. I think it must have been your computer that slowed down, because I said that perfectly and quick. Allison of ABT Boys with that 3 clean sheets so far in 6 games, which is really impressive, especially against the players we got here, and Onana of Weapon Attack equaling that as well. So some really good stuff there to look at. I think Lukaku and Sadio Mane both with 3 man in the player of the matches in half of the games they've played. That's really, really impressive. So now we're going to jump right into the injuries, because there was a couple of rough ones I did see, and it's starting to get a little bit tricky for every team with the really quick suspensions. The injuries seem to get picked up quite a lot. It is happening, and I'm seeing more and more teams having to dip into that youth side of things to bring up players, which isn't great for them. And we have there Acerbi, I think that's how you say it, or Acerbi maybe, but he's still out 5 to 8 weeks. It's been quite a long one, and Di Maria is also quite a bad loss at 5 days to 2 weeks. Joe Gomez has been out for a little while now. Nothing too huge for Doncaster Rovers, but they are still without a good few players now and potentially for their next game. But hopefully we'll start to see players like Umtiti and Aris Baglaga. Yep, that's how you say it. Hopefully we start to see them coming back soon for them. Oh, that's Kepa. I don't know why I didn't just say Kepa instead. That's how everyone knows him. Yeah, so is there any huge one? Hakim Ziyech, I think he's been out since the last episode as well, 2 to 4 months. He is definitely the main one, but when you look through everybody else, it doesn't look like there's huge ones. A couple of games here and there for everybody, but yeah, it's not looking too bad. Shithouse FC, ABT Boys and Custard Donuts, not a single injury. Potentially some suspensions for them. I'm interested to see if either of those have no suspensions. It doesn't tell me who doesn't have any suspensions, but I can just deduct it myself. ABT Boys, no suspensions either. That is really, really impressive. So they have a full team and they are top without a single loss. That's really, really interesting to see. Out of this, there's some bad misses there. Sergio Dest is just starting the first of 3 games that he's going to be missing because he got sent off in that last game, and they've also been without Alexandro and How I Met Your Mata as well for the last 2, and they'll be without him again this game. So they have really struggled with some of their discipline, because they're the only teams really getting people sent off straight up. So what we'll do now is we will look at a couple of the pieces of information in regards to some of the stats of the games we are playing today. So starting off with Cookie Collective, if we were to just jump into comparison, because that is where I have a couple of the facts written down. So you can see here, nothing really of note. They don't have too much stuff, but the teamwork, they are the number 1 teamworking team, or they have the best teamwork, I think, as most people would say. They have the best teamwork of anyone, which is a really good asset to have. But in their goalkeepers, they have the lowest kicking and lowest reflexes. Not something you want to see, especially when you get someone like Cristiano Ronaldo standing in front of you. And even to add to that point, heading and jumping is the worst of any defensive team out of everyone. And when you've got somebody that can bang the goal in from a header, that is going to be hard for them to deal with. They have the best acceleration of their defenders, and I wonder if that is down to their fullbacks perhaps. Maybe they've picked some really rapid guys up from that side of things. They also have the best stamina of any team in the whole competition, and looking at their mentals, they have the best position, and as we said before, they also have the best teamwork. The other last thing to point out is that they have the worst crossing, so we're thinking they're probably going to try and come straight up the middle. Even their corners are quite bad as well, so that is something to look out for. Perhaps not the best when it comes to the set piece department, which is going to be quite the contrast from Oblique Kick, or my team, Oblique Ramblers. Sorry, I'm just saying my own name in my own big-headedness. But we have the best corners, the best finishing, the best free kick taking, the best long shots, and the best penalties, which really begs the question, why the hell are we doing so bad? I will never know. Really, really solid passing, and yeah, that's just so good from those set piece positions, and whenever the ball stops, we are in immediate danger. We do have the highest average international caps, and you have to think that's like the Ronaldo's influence and stuff like that, and we have the highest in youth caps. I'm kind of surprised that we don't have quite as high average player value, but maybe that's the age that's brought a couple of the years down. Really, really high wages compared to everybody. Not as much as Bayern Munchies, but still extremely high. Our goalkeeping has the worst aerial and the worst one-on-ones, and I have to say I'm quite surprised about that. Oblique Ramblers has Ter Stegen and Lloris, and from my thoughts, I thought with that being a backup goalkeeper as well, that would have been the strongest duo of goalkeepers of anybody, but apparently not according to the stats, which is quite unfortunate for them. Another thing to point out of the team, I think it's in Mentals, is they have very bad work rate. Not the lowest that is Don Master Rovers, who we will get into in the future, but yeah, not the best work rate, which is a little bit of a surprise. Now, if we just look at the teams that we are going to be seeing playing out today, and we, as you can see here, we have started to build those little relationships in, and that's really good to see that trio up front with Dele Alli, Timo Werner and Lewandowski all managing to get a great partnership going with each other, which is going to make them a real threat. João Felix is still off, and in place of him, so he is a attacking mid. I'm not sure if he was going to start. It looks like Dele Alli was going to be the number one. He's a little bit unhappy at the moment because he didn't get called up to the England squad, but we'll see if that starts to expand. I have noticed a few concerns popping up here and there with teams, so you might want to look into your own teams if you're one of the managers to see what is going on with that. It looks like there's quite a big turnaround throughout this Cookie Collective team, and Doucouré is the only player who has not yet really played much. He's only kind of came on as a sub, I think. Bernat maybe another one, and their goalkeeper today, Rajkovic, he has not played yet whatsoever. He is the only player in the whole team that hasn't played whatsoever, and that is because Meret has just picked up that little knock. Shouldn't be out too long. I didn't notice it, and I think he should be back soon. But that's the team they're going with today, and I wonder if Cookie FM, their manager, will be happy or sad about that. And there'll be no speculation with this one, because this is my team, and it's surprising to see the only main... I'm not too sure what the broken line between Thiago Silva and Piqué means. I've not really seen that too much in the game, but Kolarov and Bale have something going on in the left wing. A little bit surprising, but perhaps that's because Kolarov is on that support duty, so he comes forward a little bit more, as opposed to Kimmich, who likes to keep back and try and defend on that right hand side. Emre Can, who is just a substitute, is off this game, and it looks like there has been some problems with getting rotation going. You can see Alan, Moussa Dembele, who I think has been struggling with injuries, and Vag have all not really played too much, so their match sharpness is down quite a lot. So it seems like it's really been the one team that plays often. David Silva's back after an injury, so he's just picking up match sharpness again, and in this one we are going to see Leon Bailey come on because Salah has just picked up a bit of a knock himself. So I think we've had a look through everything that we have to, so I think right now it's going to be time to jump into the game, and I'll see you in the commentary booth in just a moment. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to today's game between the Cookie Collective, who will be featuring in the purple, against Oblique Ramblers in the green and white stripes. This is going to be a fantastic game today, but both teams have been struggling. Cookie Collective is currently dead last in the competition, whereas Oblique Ramblers are just around the lower middle tier. Now, if any of these teams want to turn this around and start mounting some offense against the ABT boys right up the top of that table, this will be the day to do it. Now, out of both teams, the only real noticeable loss for either team would be Mohamed Salah on that right wing for Oblique Ramblers, but they have a good replacement in Leon Bailey there, so hopefully for them that won't be too much of a loss. So without further ado, let's jump into the action in today's game. So the ball starts with Oblique Ramblers, who are immediately trying to surge the ball up that left wing to Gareth Bale, but to no avail, and that was quite a dope rhyme that I just spit. Now, what we're trying to look at here today is to see what is going wrong with both of these teams. They've both been struggling really bad, and stuff like that is why Cookie Collective have not been doing good. The ball goes immediately to one of the Oblique Ramblers players from that goal kick, who are now trying to spearhead this attack. Bailey gets tackled there. That is really bad for him, especially trying to come in as that substitute. Jelly Ali breaks through, and it's just past. What an absolutely lethal counter-attack there from Cookie Collective. We have a throw in here for Cookie Collective. It does go to Lewandowski, who puts it back to Roberto. It's just run now. Terrible attempt to tackle from Gareth Bale there. Goes into the box. Timo Werner just misses the goal. Fantastic opportunity for Cookie Collective there, and they are looking extremely dangerous. You can already see in that Oblique Ramble side there's some problems. There's some unhappy people in the team who don't seem that interested by the games. Another bit of possession just handed away by Cookie Collective, but they immediately get it back. And just look how quick their attack is. Oh, and Timo Werner with a shot does get saved. What a lethal attacking force Cookie Collective look to be here today. Now we are up with a Kolarov corner, goes to Ronaldo, and it is saved, and Bailey tries to slide in, and it's cleared off the line. Fantastic from Cookie Collective to get that, but that shows that heading ability of Oblique Ramblers versus the small defensive side of the Cookie Collective. That was a really, really lethal opportunity though, and Cookie Collective will be delighted they managed to save that. Looking at the stats here, is very close overall. Possession and shots are just slightly edging towards Cookie Collective though, which isn't too much of a surprise as Oblique Ramblers have been struggling. Ball goes out to Gareth Bale on the wing. Can he do anything with it? Back to Kolarov. He switches it way back to Fabinho. It's going towards the box. Rakitic is here. Fabinho again. Goes to Bailey, who loses it once again. He is really having a torrid time out here, not able to make anything happen. And Thiago Silva as well, they're just getting jammed up. There's no confidence and no decision making in this Oblique Ramble side. Timo Werner does switch it back. Axel Witsel just goes over the crossbar. You have to say there's a lot of mistakes happening from both teams here immediately. Oblique Ramblers just getting really confused in the game really quickly. Meanwhile, you have the Cookie Collective are just handing the ball away from simple things. It's out on the wing here with Roberto. He does get past his man. Bale cannot do anything there. It just goes straight back to the Cookie Collective though. Savic going to Carvalho, out to Witsel. Back to Roberto, who's killing it out on that right hand wing there. Ball goes over. Jose Gaya is able to do it with it. He isn't. Kimmich does get a foot to it, but that is another attack spearheaded from Roberto, and it's a header. Oh, Lewandowski just about gets that there, and Ter Stegen can only knock it over the top. That was really close. Another one in. Fabinho does manage to clear it this time. It's not out. Jelly Ali with an absolutely stunning goal from outside the box. That is around the 30-yard mark. He just managed to pick it up as it rolls to his feet and scores an absolute screamer of a goal for his team. What a fantastic play that was. Look at that first time touch. Ter Stegen nowhere near it. Dele Alli has got his team in the lead with a fantastic bit of play there. We're immediately back into the action. Kolarov puts it in. Ronaldo header right there. Rajkovic, he is just on as the substitute goalkeeper, and you have to say he is earning his wage so far. Ball goes in again. This time it is cleared by Sanchez, but Fabinho picks it up in the box. Are we going to see any more attacks coming out of the Oblique Ramblers here? Silva, he has had some trouble already. Silva, is he going to keep struggling? and it is saved by Rajkovic. Not too much coming, but that header from Ronaldo looks so lethal. So when we look at these match stats so far, it does seem to be going Cookie Collective's way, and of course they have that stunning goal from Dele Alli. They have more shots, more on target. No one is really getting these clear-cut chances, which is surprising considering Cookie Collective have a goal. I would like to see the statman who says that goal isn't clear-cut because it went in the goals. We have a little bit more possession coming out of one of the teams, which I can't see. We don't. It is actually dead even. I said that way too early. Dead even possession. A little bit more quality in attack coming out the Cookie Collective side, but you are seeing that 70% of headers won for the Oblique Ramblers side, and that is just because they have that quality in the air. Better ratings all round for Cookie Collective, so it is all to play for in the Cookie Collective side. We're back here for the second half, and it does start with Cookie Collective here, who are going to look to capitalise on this early lead. We haven't seen too much happening. Apparently there's a relationship going on. Well, I say that very, very conspicuously. Apparently there is some good playing relationships going on between Kolarov and with Gareth Bale out on that side, but we haven't really seen it at all in this game, to be honest. They do happen to just pass each other as soon as I say it, of course. Mesut Ozil does look like he's came on. Timo Werner, and what type of goalkeeping is that from Ter Stegen? The ball just rolls into the goals, and how is Ter Stegen doing that at this level of the game? That was absolutely dreadful from him. And even Gareth Bale there trying to clear it goes to Fabinho. Ozil just on, immediately gets tackled and costs it. Timo Werner gets a shot off, and Ter Stegen was in a world of his own, and that is 2-0 for the Cookie Collective. The dead last team in the league are coming back, and we are some great performances out of some of their players. Kolarov here, I can never say his name, and PK gets the header. It is 2-1 now, and it's coming back for Oblique Ramblers, but it's still a very difficult game. Kolarov did get that cross in, and it does go near that near post to PK, and he probably is the biggest heading threat on the pitch, and that is evident by that performance there. But we have to see more out of Oblique Ramblers if they are going to come back in this game, because Cookie Collective, they are still getting all of these opportunities with the shots in their camp. Again, Rajkovic has no playing, and they with the balls out, and we do know that Cookie Collective does have the worst kicking of any team in this league, so that is very evident there. Allen has also came on now for Oblique Ramblers, so we'll see if that can make any difference. I think he is on for Fabinho. Lovely ball over to Salah, who's also on. I think he has injured too though, so that's dangerous. Salah switches ball back. Gareth Bale just goes left of the post. Really bad finishing on that header. He should have expected more from that position. Lewandowski here, back to Roberto. Cookie Collective's going for it. Bale finally gets a tackle in, but again it goes nowhere. He's been terrible out on that side, and it's a header, doesn't go anywhere, and what a header, just goes over the post. Ter Stegen again looked a little bit confused there. He was just a bit lost and didn't know what to expect. And Gareth Bale has went off injured, and that means that these early substitutions for Oblique Ramblers have been devastating, because now they are down to 10 men and they are a goal down. That is absolutely horrendous for them, and Gareth Bale is injured as well. So Salah is all on him to make stuff happen here. He doesn't at all, and he's given the ball away for a counter-attack. Ball goes forward. Timo Werner just get about, beats Kimmich. Is he going to get fully past them? He switches it back to Gaia. Dele Alli with another long shot, and it's just wide this time. Perhaps not with the same power and venom that he had in that early one, but another good opportunity. We do see Gaia has came on for Axel Witsel, and there is just 5 minutes left in the game. Is there anything left to see out of Oblique Ramblers here, or is it going to be a good night for Cookie Collective? We do see the Cookie Collective team going forward there. Allen does get a slide tackle in, but he doesn't do anything with it. Gaia gets past him, goes in. Timo Werner with another good opportunity. Ter Stegen finally manages to catch on in this game and make a save. Ball comes in. Ozil does get the clearance. Allen's trying to start the counter-attack here. Is he able to do anything? He almost got tackled again there. These substitutes coming on are being terrible for Oblique Ramblers here. Ter Stegen sends the ball up. It just goes straight to Roberto. Are we going to see a counter-attack spearhead here? Carvalho to Savic. Back out to Roberto. He's been amazing on this wing today. Beats both his men. PK does get the clearance off though, but it's still close to the Oblique Ramblers box. Savic again over to Roberto. Gets the shot and it's a goal. Capping off a beautiful performance. Sergio Roberto managed to send that home. How can you even send Ter Stegen the wrong way in that position? There's only one way he could have jumped to save that, and he jumped the other way. How could that possibly happen? You have to catch it here, and it goes in that near post. It just falls down, and Ter Stegen is having a howler of a game here, but Sergio Roberto is being absolutely brilliant in this pitch today. He is the star man for me, but we'll see if he actually picks up the man of the match. It's 3-1 here, and it is still with Cookie Collective here. You have to think there's nothing more out of this game, and if there is, it's one more Cookie Collective shot perhaps. Back out to Roberto. He gets it, and it goes to Ter Stegen, who again can't even hold the ball. He is all over the place in this game. Ter Stegen will have to look at himself deeply after this and see what has went wrong, because he could be costing Oblique Ramblers everything. Dele Alli here keeps the ball. Maybe they're going to try and slow it down, but it doesn't look like it. A lot of men forward, even at 3-1 up. Ali goes for the shot, goes out for another corner, and you have to think this referee is going to blow the whistle any second here and save Oblique Ramblers from more humiliation. Back out to Dele Alli. He is going to maybe switch it. He doesn't. Ozil managed to kick it away, but it doesn't look like anything's going to happen. You have to think this is going to be the end of the game any second now, perhaps just before the throw-in. It does not. The game is continuing. That's a long amount of injury time. I wonder how much Gareth Bale's out for, but now it's over. It's bizarre time to do that as Roberto was picking up that ball, but brilliant game from Cookie Collective. It is Sergio Roberto who gets that man of the match, and Oblique Ramblers have to be looking at themselves wondering how they have fallen apart so bad, and the only finger you can point is at Ter Stegen, but there's so much quality shown from Cookie Collective there, and if they can get themselves on this kind of form in every game, they got 26 shots off. That is insane. That is an incredible performance from them, and if they can keep that sort of attacking force up and keep that sort of impressive pressure going, then that means that they might not be sitting in that last position for much longer. Well, that was quite the game there. Thanks for watching today, and we will see you in the next game and back to the studio where we will review some of the action that happened throughout the week. As always, for the content creators, if you do wish to break down your team and don't want to know the results, look away now as we are just about to show them. So another week has been capped off, and we watched Cookie Collective tear apart Oblique Ramblers with a great performance that lifts them up quite a lot. But when you're looking through this, there's so much to pick out, and we will start right at the top. ABT Boys, our number one team, with an incredible 5-0 over How I Met Your Mother. Absolutely tore them apart, and we see goals coming from all over the pitch there. That is really, really impressive from them. Bayer Munchies struggling still. Edward managed to send home a goal in 50 minutes for Keebs to go pick up the 3 points, and that will be really, really good for Keebs, who have been struggling a little bit. Cornish Marauders again, big 4-0 over close rivals Relegation Athletic. Those two teams are really close to each other in this league right now, so that is huge for them to get such a commanding and devastating win. And you can see Aguero didn't even pick up any goals there. They're picking up goals from other places. You see Skriniar did get the goal there at 31 minutes and got sent off at 39. They will not be happy about that. But yeah, big win for Cornish Marauders there. We've seen Custard Donuts absolutely steal that game. Mbappe for Fletcher Jets gets the goal at 66, but within 84 to 87, two quick-fire goals from Neymar and Milik gets Custard Donuts a big 3 points and gets them up that table, which is really good for them. Haaland is continuing to dominate now. He is really hitting his form, and he has to be in the starting lineup for when his replacement comes back. But a big hat-trick for him, really hammering that game home for Donmaster Rovers, where Lukaku, who has been on incredibly good form for Hoof FC, cannot do enough to bring it back, and that game goes to Donmaster Rovers 3-1. And that 80-minute goal for Waterloo Hotspur will be devastating from Wepo Attack, who will be devastating, and that 80-minute goal for Waterloo Hotspur will be devastating from Wepo Attack, who have been in second position for a while now, and that is going to really separate them. I think they're 3 points behind ABT Boys now from that, so that was really good for Dybala to send that penalty home and stopping Wepo from starting to run away from the rest of the league. And right down the bottom, Wakefield City with a really good win over Shithouse FC, showing that they can bounce back from that unfortunate loss last week. They managed to get 3 goals to 2, and it was a good all-round performance. Eric Bailey being the number one guy to point out there, managing to pick up a brace, and Benzema rounding that off for the 3 goals. So now we're going to jump into the league table to see where that leaves everyone now, and of course right down the bottom, since Waterloo Hotspur only picked up that draw and Cookie Collective managed the win, that means Waterloo Hotspur are dead last and the only team without a win. You have to think Old Lady Plays is going to be gutted about that, because she puts so much thought into her team, and that will be devastating to see her fall so far down. Cookie Collective obviously making a big step forward with that win, and we'll see if their confidence is sky high. It could be good for them, maybe if they were playing maybe like a How I Met Your Mata next, really managed to establish themselves as a mid-table team, but they are still way behind right now. Towards the top of the table, again of course ABT Boys now 3 points clear at the top, the only team undefeated still, and they've been doing amazing, but Cornish Marauders are starting to really chase them. They managed to close that gap with Relegation Athletic, and now if you look at that goal difference, Relegation Athletic have the same exact record, but they've only got 2 goal difference, whereas Cornish Marauders have 14, the top of the league. That is so impressive for them, and they are really chasing down those top 3, but already just 7 games in, they do find themselves 6 points behind ABT Boys, which is going to be kind of rough for everyone else. Looking through everything else here, Hoof FC just falling out of that kind of top part where they were before. Custard Donuts have been putting in consistent performances. They haven't been making many headlines, but they're just managing to creep up, and they are now within jumping reach of that top 3, top 2 sort of position. Around the centre of the table, Wakefield City do pick themselves quite a bit, probably at the expense of Oblique Ramblers, who seem to have swapped positions with them now, and we see the typical names now going around: Doncaster Rovers, Fletcher Jets, Shithouse FC, all around that middle of the table point. But Doncaster Rovers will be happy, because they would have been right down in 12th position had they not managed to pick up that impressive win, all thanks to Haaland. Looking over at the stats now, nothing really seems to have changed. We do have Mbappe is now top of the assists. I'm not sure if he was before. I can't tell you for sure. Maybe he couldn't have actually been, because he was the only person that scored in that game. So apologies, I just didn't look clearly enough. And we have Sujina's Under, I believe his name is, Wakefield City. Quite a surprising guy to be number 2 on the assist, to be honest. And Lukaku still spearheading forward as the number 2 in average rating. But of course Sadio Mane is all the headlines as the best player in the league so far. Quite surprising Haaland isn't breaking into that top 3 yet, but perhaps he's getting close. I'd say maybe he might be on something along 5. Perhaps he is joint with Sergio Aguero. So we will look now at what we have coming up in the next episode. So of course, this is, as always, this is the week that we are going to be playing through off the video. So we'll see what we've got here. Jumping out at me, if I just quickly go through it. Hoof FC, Cornish Marauders could be great. I think that would probably be the tie of the week, to be honest. They're 2 top level teams, and I think some of these are maybe RB Keeps, Wakefield City, they're quite close to each other, but when you look through the others, it seems like there is kind of a top team and a bottom team. Actually, Cookie Collective Waterloo Hotspur is really good, because that is a real fight to get off of that bottom position, so that's another really interesting one there. So we'll see how that does at the start of the next episode, but this is what we're going to be coming back for. And I think based on these games, now that I realise I was completely off, because I was thinking we were coming back from these ones, so I had these plans of coming back for Fletcher Jets, Doncaster Rovers, but now that I'm looking at it, that probably isn't going to work out whatsoever. So throughout these, I think the only fresh game we have here is ABT Boys versus RB Keebs. So that'll definitely be the one we come back for that, because in all the other games we have watched at least one of those teams before, if I'm correct. And then if we jump 2 ahead of that, don't know why we're missing a game there. Maybe it's something to do with the cup. I'm not sure. We'll come to that bridge when we come to it. I don't know what that means whatsoever, but thanks anyways. As always, it's really good that you are coming and spending your time while locked up in your house watching the CCL. I really appreciate it. I know all the creators are really loving it right now, so that is great to see. And as always guys, thanks for watching today, and I'll see you next time in the league.